And we are
Hi, we're
live.
live.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Earth School Journey. I am your co host, Uni, and this is my lovely peer guide and fellow co host, Umi Steph.
Good
We
evening.
are, yes, hey, Umi. We are so excited this evening. We are joined by an amazing guest, and Umi's going to introduce him in just a second. But we just want to thank you all again for joining us. You know, Earth School Journey, where life is the curriculum and experience is the teacher. And we are all here to learn our lessons and do our work. And so, with that, I will turn it over to Umi so she can introduce our guest for tonight.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And I will let you all know I'm a little under the weather. So if I sound yucky, that's why. But I'm going to do my best. So tonight we have the amazing Albert Ali. He is my brother in spirit. You guys probably hear me talk about him all the time when I talk about my prayer partner, my prayer partner, my prayer partner. This is my prayer partner. But let me more formally introduce him. Albert is an ordained metaphysical minister, a metaphysician, a mystic, a Reiki master. He does animal Reiki. He's a sound therapist, a vibrational therapist, a musician, a spiritual counselor, and a prayer warrior. I can attest to that last one for sure. And he's dedicated to guiding others on their path to healing and inner transformation. He integrates healing modalities such as metaphysical wisdom, spiritual counseling, Reiki energy healing, sound therapy, and affirmative prayer to promote holistic well-being and spiritual awakening. That's the more formal introduction, but this is my brother. This is we Albert, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Thank you for having me, allowing me to share my story.
Yeah.
And it's just so good to be here.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate you joining us. When we started this channel, it was really about sharing what our journeys were. I feel like we have these, spiritual teachers and spiritual gurus, and we see the end product, but we don't always hear the entire story. We hear bits and pieces of it, but we don't really hear the story of how they got to that point of, being these spiritual masters, right? And so Earth School Journey really was meant to show people that, there's a whole journey behind that it's not you don't jump from being in the world and not knowing who you are to just being this spiritual master. So we really appreciate you sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you.
So, I guess let's get started. Uni, did you want to kick us off?
Sure, sure. As we like to ask our guests, the first question is just talking about the concept that we have, with our channel, our podcast, with the spiritual perspective of Earth being a school. This is something that Umi and I have, pondered and we really believe this wholeheartedly. And we'd like to know, like, what are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts on Earth being a school, that we come here and we're learning these lessons and getting this experience, and maybe we're going to move on to another level or another place, or there's going to be somewhere where we can ascend. How do you feel about that?
I think I definitely agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, I do believe we are here for a purpose. We are here to learn. We are here to learn various lessons. We learn lessons in love, in our relationships. We learn lessons of forgiveness. We learn, we come here to learn so that we can grow spiritually. that we can be our best version of us, I believe. And I believe ultimately it's a way for us to get back to knowing the true essence of who we are as spiritual beings, not just humans, but so yeah, the Earth School is the whole. I love your concept. I told Steph on multiple occasions. This is one of my favorite podcasts as well. It's just, I really think you guys do a great job. It's the classroom. I like that setting. The classroom. We're all here to learn from each other, and we all have different journeys, but we have, we journey together in a sense. But yeah, Earth School is definitely. We come here to learn, to grow, to love, to experience the fullness of life, I believe, till we transition to something even greater.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for that. I totally agree with you. I feel like a lot of times we come here and people think we're just here. You know what I mean? Like we're just here, and when you don't have that thought process of Earth being a school, or you're here to learn and you're here to grow and you're here to be this human being having this spiritual being having a human experience, I feel like I feel like a lot of people just miss something. You know what I mean? There's an aspect of it that's missing when you're not actively working to grow in this life, I guess you could say, for lack of a better way. But yeah, thank you so much. And Umi, yeah, she's told me so much about how you watch our channel, and we appreciate it so much. We really do. We appreciate all our friends and all our family members who watch our podcast, whether live or on the replays. We know a lot of people catch us on the replay. So we're really grateful to have you here, and really grateful to have you support us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's get to the heart of the matter. We're going to talk a little bit about what your spiritual journey has been like. Where did it start? How did you begin, like, on this journey? Was it just always something that you always felt, or did you just have a moment where it all changed for you?
I believe it was a moment when it all changed for me. It was the passing of my mother. It made it really, it shook me, of course. It was my mom. I love my mother dearly. And I just couldn't believe, why would God take my mother away? I had just graduated high school, and it was just such a profound impact on me. And I developed a fear of death, this great fear of death. And then I realized that I can't avoid it, right? We can't avoid death.
Right. Nope.
So, yeah. So that really kind of made me question all that I was taught about religion, God. I grew up Catholic and, through the Christian tradition, but it made me really stop and question it. And then for the longest time, I just, I had stopped going to church or what have you and everything, and just kind of just went on with life and not really giving much thought to it, in a sense. Yeah.
So were there any particular roadblocks? So once you decided to once that turning point hit, I mean, did you just start like seeking other avenues of spirituality, or was it like you just turned away from all of it for a while, or was there any specific roadblock?
Yeah, I kind of turned away from it all for a while, and then years later, after I met my wife and got married, she was Baptist, but she was still Christian tradition, and so I started going back to church. And then again, those thoughts would come back, and I just had to really think about, what is death? Why, what is the purpose of life, or what have you? But then I did start looking at studying Islam. I took the Shahada, which is like the formal declaration of
Mhm.
becoming a Muslim. I studied Buddhism, Zoroastrianism. I studied many other faiths as well. But it really just, I started looking for something to give me more comfort, that would give me comfort in my beliefs about God, about what I had been taught. Um, and it eventually, at one point, I started looking at the ancient mysteries of Freemasonry. I had become a Freemasonry and had gone through those teachings as well. So they were more esoteric, and they did enlighten me. They did open my eyes up to um, more about, I guess, the nature of reality and so forth. So, but there was still something missing, um,
Mhm.
and then that really started a more serious spiritual quest, um, and so forth.
Mhm. So, at what point do you feel like what was the turning point of where you would pinpoint it being like that awakening, that there was more to it than what religion or any of these teachings were teaching you, when you became more aware that, we are really one, that we are one with God, that we're more than just these bodies and these, that
Right.
yeah.
So as I'll give you an example. When I was studying Islam and deep into that faith, there's the salat, we call salat, the five
Mhm.
times a day prayer. And one time I was praying, I was performing this ritual, and the question just kept popping in mind: why are you doing this? This isn't a love from some greater being. Why would God demand, quote unquote, God
Right.
demand for me to worship him, you know, each day, 5 times a day? Why? And all these questions just started popping up. So eventually I just started just praying to God, just asking God to show me the way, show me the truth of what I am seeking. Um, and I think, like, probably a month or two later, after constantly praying this, I had a dream. And in this dream, I could see this image of this person's face, but I had no idea who this was. It was like a dark image, like the person was in like a shadow per
Mhm.
se. And I just couldn't figure out, well, what is this? And then it just kept showing up. And then all of a sudden, a name popped up and it said Anayat Khan. And I had never heard of Anayat Khan. Who is this? So one day when I was at work, I Googled the name Anayat Khan. And sure enough, the picture that showed up was the picture that I saw in my dream. And I,
Mm.
I just took it that spirit was telling me, this is who I need to study. Right. And so Anayat Khan was a great Indian Sufi mystic, and he brought the universal teachings of Sufism to the West, which is a path of love. And, it's not about the ritualistic dogma of religion, but it was
Mhm.
just, love, just expressing love and compassion for one another. And his teaching, I think he had like 15 books, and I bought them all and read them and studied them. But it really opened my my awareness up, because I remember in one of the books it said, the God of the Sufi is the God of every creed. Names and forms make no distinctions. And at first I was like floored. I couldn't believe that, because I had, by that time I had built up such a anti-Christian,
Mhm.
so to speak, viewpoint. But the real turning point was his teachings, which really moved me, and it made me go on to study other teachings as well.
Mhm. Wow, a prophetic dream.
Yeah, yeah. That was, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that must have been an experience. What was it like for you to experience that? To, like, have this dream of something you've never no, someone you've never seen before, and you know, you at least you followed it. You went for it. You looked for it. So I just, I've never had an experience such, exactly like that. I've had prophetic dreams, but nothing where I've had to like Google something and it was in the dream. It was something from my dream. What was that experience like for you?
I mean, it was just such a great experience because I felt like I found what I was looking for, that missing piece, I just, to have that dream, to see that picture, and then for weeks to not know what it was or what it meant, and then a name pop up, and then I Google it, and there's the picture, and I was just overwhelmed with joy because I kind of knew this is God talking to me, telling me this is the truth, follow these teachings or what have you. So, it really opened me up to even more teachings.
Amazing. Uni, you have anything?
No, I'm just like, wow, that the prophetic dreams like that is very, it has me speechless. Have you experienced that after that? Like, because I feel like that's it's telling of one of your gifts. So have you experienced additional more prophetic dreams like that, or was that like a one in a lifetime sort of thing?
No, actually, I had one other one, and this one was with actually Michael Beckworth of the Agape International Spiritual Center. I actually had I was on the path of self-realization. So I was to the point where I could basically say that God has become me, but I could never say that I was God or of the essence of God. But then, I prayed on that and would do meditation and ask for the truth to be shown, because I'm thinking that's, you feel it's not what I'm accustomed to at the time. But then I just kind of prayed on it, meditated. And I remember one time I was in deep meditation and I could feel a sense of something else being there with me. But it wasn't a duality. It was like me in God and God in me, but it wasn't a duality. And then the question came to me, well, how do I find out more about, getting closer to this belief? And Michael Bernard Beckwith popped up. I don't know where it came from because I hadn't heard of Agape until recently, within the past 5 years or so. And it popped up, and, listening to him and how it just resonated, and then learning that a lot of the people that he studied, like Paramahansa Yogananda, Anayat Khan, these were the same people that I had studied. So I felt like we had a connection. And then to listen to him and read his book, Spiritual Liberation and so forth, it just made me realize that I am, spirit is truly what I am. It is the essence of my being. There's no difference. There's no separation, So, yeah, that was another kind of moment for me. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's how we met, was through Agape. We were in a class together and we got assigned to be prayer partners, and then we didn't stop. We just kept being prayer partners, and we've been praying weekly since then. It's been like 3 years, 2 years.
Yeah, been like 3 years now.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like and I've experienced this, so correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to be projecting, but that your religious background was kind of a little bit of a barrier to you fully embracing that right away, that idea of your oneness. I know for me, that to say that I am one with God felt like blasphemy.
Right.
Especially I grew up Muslim, and then I went into the Christian church, and to say that, just blasphemy. Like, you're going to hell. So yeah. Did it take a while after that, or was that dream really the moment that it kind of solidified it for you?
It took like a year because, like you said, you and I, we entered into the practitioner study program And that's through those trainings and teaching, that's where I was able to come to. I have no problem now with saying I am God. It's just,
Yeah.
I know who I am, right?
Right. Right.
I know who I am. I have no
Mhm.
problem with it. It's, it's wonderful when you can look at life through that lens.
Mhm.
Life takes on a whole new meaning, a whole new meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know for me, it did take a lot of study before I got to the point where I felt like I wasn't gonna be struck down, like I'm not looking for lightning. Yeah.
One of the things that came out of it for me was it reminded me of this Sufi story where basically I had to unlearn everything that I learned before so that I
Mhm.
could allow the truth to come in, so that I could know the truth, right?
Yeah.
I had to unlearn everything, every concept I was taught before, I had to unlearn it. And it's like this Sufi story where this, um, we would say he was a guru, but he had two students come to him for teachings, and one was a prince. He had all the money and all this knowledge, the finest schools, and the other one was what they call the peasant, the everyday person. And so the Sufi master says, for the prince, I'm going to charge you, like, let's just say $1,000 or whatever, but for the peasant, it's just $10.
Mhm.
The thing was that, well, why are you charging me so much more money? Because he says, first, you have to unlearn everything that you've learned so that you can receive and accept the knowledge.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times we put those types of barriers up,
Mhm.
what we've had before, what we've been taught.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Oh, sounds like you've had quite an experience of unlearning and then relearning.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So where do you feel you are right now?
Now I feel like I'm a self-realized. I know who I am.
Mhm.
Um, I don't look for something external to validate me or who I am. Um, I have a spiritual practice, which it's consists of meditation, affirmative prayer, always gratitude, a gratitude practice. Um, I just feel like I'm in a real good place, um, because I look at things from a different viewpoint, a different lens. Knowing that life is all for me, and it's for us all. And knowing that I can if I change my thinking, my perception, I can change my reality. I mean, it's just so much, um, from a spiritual perspective that I've learned. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. We like to ask about your, I know Umi, she did read your bio earlier, but we'd love for you to tell us more about your spiritual calling and like your spiritual work, and maybe why did you go, into those areas? What led you to those particular callings? Or I know you heard the call and you answered it, but like how, you know what I mean? Like, was there anything that led you to those areas?
Right. So for the longest time, I've always been, um, always felt like I was going to be called to be a preacher in a sense. Always felt that. But then when I started digging in further and seeing that that wasn't the truth, it didn't really resonate with me. Um, and what led me down this path is just, being around people that talked about mysticism and so forth, and then learning about Reiki and studying like science and physics and so forth. And it just sparked a great interest in me to learn more about it, that, hey, I am an energy being. I'm more than this body, right? Um, and so I ended up, then taking studies on Reiki, studying Reiki and studying like sound healing, because I'm also a musician. And that really resonated with me. And it was just so amazing to like study sound healing and the various documentaries about sound and how it can heal your body and so forth. And so along the way, as I traveled this journey, I just felt like other people should be aware. There are a lot of people who are not aware, but my thought is that I can help bring this awareness to them. So that's why I just started out this website. I have my website now up, and I just really want to help people to know the truth, know the truth about even the teachings of Jesus, know the truth about healing, know the truth that we can heal. The body has that capability to heal. Many times we get prescriptions from the doctors and all of this, but really it's, if you set the environment for healing, the body will heal itself. You don't need any medicine, drugs, or what have you, and just learning so much about that, our thoughts and, all of this information, just learning about it, bring it into my awareness, and then just wanting to help others to learn about this information as well and apply it in their lives as well. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I want to ask really quickly. You said you're a musician. What do you play, an instrument, or do you write?
I play guitar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love jazz. I was a musical director at Agape East for
Wow.
3 years for a while. But yeah, I've always loved music, and it's a therapy for me. I'm sure it is for many others as well. But I don't know if any of you play an instrument or what have you, but if you ever get the opportunity, it's a good therapy for the body. It's sound, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't play any instruments. I've always wanted to play something. I tried to learn the piano at one point, or the keyboard. That didn't last too long. I really didn't have the money to like invest in the classes and stuff, but so I was trying to teach myself. But I do believe that music is healing, and I believe that it has kind of been turned upside down with the music that we hear, and on radio, and just the popular music that's out here. I feel like what they've done is they've taken something that could be used for such good and turned it upside down. And so I really appreciate people who, like yourself, who are bringing this awareness back and speaking up and sharing your voice, sharing your gift with the world, so that we can, really, I don't like to say use, like work with the energy, you know what I mean, so that we can heal ourselves and we can heal each other. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing your gift and expanding your horizons beyond just traditional, or I would say popular uh, uh, instruments. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the sound bowls are getting more popular. You have the pyramids and the triangles and the symbols and the what are the other ones? The tuning forks. Those are getting more popular now.
Yes.
But I think it's just so important that we really spread this awareness, so that people know that, yes, sound is healing. It heals you. It uplifts you. It does wonderful things. So thank you so much.
Turn my mic back on. I was getting ready to talk, and then I'm like, wait a minute, it's not there. Oh, I have actually had a Reiki session with Albert, and he has what are they called? The bells, the Koshi bells? Is that what it is? Koshi bells?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It's definitely, I love that you are able to integrate your musical talent, through sound healing as well, because music itself is healing in and of itself.
It is.
I actually went to a jazz show with my daughter on Saturday night in Richmond, and the musician kept saying that jazz is good for the soul, right? Jazz is good for the soul, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I know that you're into jazz, so I thought about you with that because, you know, um, bringing that spiritual element into your music,
Yes.
um, Uni and I were talking about this. Is like I feel like one of the main ways to raise the vibration, to have more people awakening, is through different avenues of entertainment, right? And just making those avenues of entertainment more filled with spirit, more filled with, awareness and consciousness. And, I love that you are doing that with sound healing. And, I know you're not doing the music at Agape East anymore, but whatever you decide to do, I don't know if you've gotten something that you decide to do next. I really look forward to that.
Right. I think my heart is actually jazz. That's where my heart is at.
Yeah.
My dad was a jazz musician, but that's really my heart. And so I decided to kind of step back and explore that more and so forth. So yeah, really love it.
Nice. So what's next for you? I know that you have your website. Are you ready to explore that? Or I don't
I think she
kind of
was,
put out there yet.
Oh, you froze a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was just asking, like, what's next for you as far as your metaphysical practice and your sound healing, your music.
Yeah, to try to, I mean, right now I work a day job, but the plan is to migrate and do more of the work, this metaphysical work, because I love it. And so that's my plan, is just trying to get there. So, but I think as time goes on, I'll be able to do that. There's still a little bit more work to do on the site, but yeah, it's I'd be more than happy to come back and do like a sound bath for your audience, for
love that.
our fellow classmates,
Yes.
So yeah.
I think our classmates would love that. Yeah. I invite all of our classmates who are watching now, if you're watching on the replay, there is a link to Albert's website in the description. So if you want to check him out, please do. I can attest to his Reiki skills and his musical talent. So definitely check him out. So as we are moving on, this is a question we ask all of our guests, because I like to know, if you only had one spiritual practice, if you only had one, what would it be? What would be your go-to? Why?
If I only had one spiritual practice, I would probably say my practice of gratitude. And the reason is because it evokes a feeling tone within me. And you will learn feeling is really the key. Like when you're trying to manifest or anything, I've manifested my car, just feeling, getting into the feeling, manifested other things. Gratitude brings about such a great feeling tone. I feel the love, I feel a complete joy when I'm so grateful for all that I have, for all that's available, for just being grateful. I would say that would be my go-to practice. If I only had to do one, it would always be gratitude, because that's the first thing I do in the morning. When I wake up, it's a prayer of gratitude. And before I go to sleep, it's a prayer of gratitude. And even during the day, when I find time, I say a prayer of gratitude. It's just that feeling tone is the key, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, yeah, no, I think gratitude is such an important practice, particularly when you feel like you're in lack.
Right.
When you feel like you're missing something, when you start to have gratitude for what you have, what you already physically have, but also for that which you can't see yet. It really does shift your whole perspective, your whole mindset, your whole vibration, so that
Right.
you can pull it in, so that you can attract what it is that you need or want, you know. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm glad we asked. I'm always curious to know, like, what's people's go-to practice, you know?
Right.
Yeah, me too. And that's a really good one.
Mhm.
I wholeheartedly believe in gratitude as well. I feel like the times that I've been grateful, even when I was going through hard times, when I look back, it helped keep my head above water. You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
didn't succumb. I didn't get over I want to say drowned. I want to say over something, but I wasn't drowned by I didn't drown in what I was going through. You know what I mean? I feel like
Right.
gratitude really helped me to keep my head above water. And so that is an amazing practice. And it doesn't take anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't cost you
Mhm.
anything. A lot of times people, they think about, just something that'll cost money. You know what I mean? Some people say crystal healing, some people say sound healing, some people say, just different things that may cost it. It literally costs you nothing to be grateful. Maybe a little ego or something, but that's
Right.
it. So thank you so much for that. That was beautiful.
Yeah, my pleasure. Mm.
Awesome. So we have really moved through the questions here, and we are, just really grateful to have you, Albert. This month we have been, talking about spiritual identity,
Mm.
what that means to us individually, how we look at that from the collective. We've definitely talked about the spiritual identity and our oneness with God, and some of the things that you've already shared about having, being a spiritual being, having a human experience, the metaphysics and esoterics. We talked a lot about astrology, numerology, some cardology, and just different things about how they kind of intersect and help us to. I know we've talked from our perspective how they've helped us to um, really lean into our spirituality and our oneness with God, and our and know who we are on a deeper level, without grasping and holding on too tightly even to those. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
What do you think about that? Like how do you feel about, your spiritual, the theme of spiritual identity? I know you've shared about it, but is there anything that you'd like to add from, this perspective directly?
Right. Yeah. So, um, knowing that the truth about the essence of my being, I am a spiritual being, as we all are. And everything is energy, everything, including the carpet on your floor, the house that you live in, the car you drive, everything is some form of energy. And this energy comes from that one source. That's what I believe.
Mhm.
What I've taken in through all of my studies and so forth. But just leaning into that truth, I notice things don't bother me as much like they used to, because I know I'm at one with the source, which we
Mhm.
call God or any other name you want to have for it, the higher power or what have you. But when you look at life from that perspective, things, the stuff that we make up, the material world just doesn't really, it just doesn't really matter. It's all temporary, right? So just knowing the truth of my being, the true essence, and knowing that the spirit is in everything. That's how, we're all one. We're interconnected, like the internet. We're interconnected. The spirit. I call it my beloved, as we call it in Sufism, but each one is, we're beloveds to one another. So it just gives you a whole new perspective on life, you know?
I agree. As you're speaking, I'm hearing like this peace that passes all understanding. Like sometimes we get so stuck in our humanness that, it has to make sense. We got to put things in a box, or it has to check a box of some sort. And as you were speaking, I'm just hearing like there's this peace that you have, that knowing that I'm connected to all there is. I'm abundant in all there is. Anything that I need, I have. Or if I don't have it right at this moment, it's on its way to me in divine timing and alignment with the oneness of who I truly am. And so I really appreciate that so much, because sometimes it gets a little challenging to remember that. Like you said, I work a 9 to 5 too, and I would love to be more in metaphysics on a more full-time basis, and still be able to, pay my bills and eat out and have fun and do the things that I want to do,
Yeah.
But there's this peace that I have in knowing that I'm still, that I'm, first of all, that I'm right where I need to be. I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing. And that I am connected to all there is, and in divine timing and in divine alignment with that which is according to my earth school curriculum. I'm going to be where I need to be, when I need to be there. So thank you so much for that reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, I had a little coughing fit while you guys were talking.
That's all right.
So if I feel like my voice is a little anyway. So I had a question and I lost it. It just literally left me. We did talk a little bit, not last week, but 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch that particular episode about esoterics. I would like to know, kind of like, when we say esoterics, we're talking about kind of like tools of divination, astrology, numerology, cardology, things like that. Do you have any experience with those things? Do you have a thought about any of that?
I do not. So I did watch your show, that podcast on it, and I was like, this is really interesting. I need to look into this more. But it's one of the modalities that I have not studied. But it's it's time. It's plenty of time for me to grow in that area to learn more about it. But it's just so interesting, what you all were sharing about it. But I haven't really dug into it yet.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not everybody's, everybody comes to it how they come to it. Uni and I we actually kind of met because we were both hanging out in spaces that were around astrology and cardology and that kind of space where we were just hanging out. And that's how we met initially. But I was just curious to know if you had any experience with them, or kind of what you thought about that aspect of like, for me, it's with astrology, because that's my main modality when it comes to these particular teachings. To know that, like, at the moment of my birth, the stars aligned in a way that really kind of maps out my human journey. It does, and to know that, like, it just helps me to solidify my spiritual identity, because of course the stars were aligned in a certain way that predicted my mapped out my journey, because I am a part of it. I am one with it. And and that's why I was asking, but I understand if you don't really have any background in that area. I'll have to do a reading for you at some point. So we've kind of gone through most of what's on our list here. What do you think is kind of your end game? Do you have a big vision for where this is headed for you? Like, as far as, you know, you've gotten, I know you're ordained already in a metaphysical ministry. You have all of these certificates and trainings and all of that in Reiki. By the way, Christy is in the chat and she said, yes, he's got skills with Reiki hands. I had to pass that.
I love it.
Thank you. Pass that on. Christy is she's like our number one fan. She's always in the chat. She's always keeps me
so much.
Yeah, that's my baby. Okay. I love her.
Yeah,
but do you have yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just see it. I think what I want most out of life is like freedom, like the freedom to do what I want when I want. You know, it's not all about wealth or money, having, you know, being rich, but it's just having that freedom. So I can I see it, I'm visualizing it. It's going to happen, that where I can get to a point where I can just do my metaphysical practice. You know, I'm helping people and I'm able to earn a living at it, and I'm comfortable. I'm okay, you know. So that's very important, I think. Yeah, to be free, you know, financially free, to be just absolute freedom to do what you want, you know.
Yeah, no, I can definitely appreciate that. I think that's kind of what we all want, right? Is just that freedom to. So I'll speak from the I know that I want the freedom to get a message, get a direction from spirit that says go that way, and to be able to just immediately go that way, you know, go in that direction. And I know that it's not always meant for us to go immediately. Like sometimes there's a journey that has to happen. This is our school. There's going to be some detours. Might be some remedial classes that need to be taken. I find myself learning the same lessons over and over sometimes, you know, when you're holding on to something a little too tightly.
Right.
But yeah, that freedom is definitely, you know, at least what I'm definitely looking forward to, getting to that point of my spiritual oneness, my knowledge, my belief, you know, where I've kind of, and I, you know, I feel like I've gotten to a certain point, but there's more to do before we get there, you know.
Right.
Uni, you got anything?
No, I'm just really grateful, and I agree. I'm glad we're all on this. We're all feeling the same thing. We're all going to manifest this freedom because, you know, I definitely feel we have been just shackled by all of these man-made structures, responsibilities, and all these different things, you know. So yeah, I'm with y'all. I'm with y'all 1,000%.
So I have we got about 12 minutes left, not too much time. So this is kind of a big ticket question that just came to me, you know. And I want to know, what do you see when we finally get as humanity to a place where, you know, we're not at war all the time. We're not fighting all the time. We're not living in fear all the time. Well, I guess it's a two-part question. One, what do you think it's going to take for us to get there, first of all? And then the second part of that question is, what will we be facing then? Like, what will the challenge be then, right? Once we've conquered this, as I said, it's a big ticket question. So I'm pushing you.
Well, for the first question, what would it take to get there? I believe an expansion of consciousness. And I do see this happening, right? We see this, like your wonderful podcast is one. It helps people to expand, you know, their consciousness. And just, you know, at one time, all of the stuff that we talk about, like you talked about the readings and the tarot cards and things of that nature, Reiki energy, sound healing, it used to be like woo-woo, right? somebody would say something like, what? But it's all science is showing us that what these ancient mystics were talking about is truth, and it begins with bringing into our awareness that we're not separated. We all come from the same source. It sources us all. It animates us all. In reality, there is really no Albert Ali. It is spirit emanating as Albert. But yeah, I think that level of consciousness needs to just rise. And I think some people have started to put out some numbers, like you only take like 1,000 or whatever of us to have a consciousness at a certain level for it to kind of manifest throughout the planet. Yeah. And then the second question, now remind me what the second question was.
So when we're not facing kind of like this idea of war and fighting, and when we've kind of evolved to that point, right?
Okay. Right.
What's going to be the lesson? What are we going to have to work on? What is the journey going to look like then?
Yeah. Huh. That's a good question.
I stumped you.
When we get there, because I believe humanity we will, because I see it all over the planet. I see it in the different groups that I'm a member of, different people talking, the consciousness is definitely rising. More people are questioning what they've been traditionally taught about what they've been taught. So, this whole, I just believe that, we're going to get there sooner than later. And then once we get there, I don't know, are we going to have, I don't know. Will people be using or trying to use these new modalities, of trying to cause harm to others, there's always going to be that thought, will people be trying to take advantage of others still? I don't know. But, to me, everything is it begins in consciousness first. We can control, our genes, everything has a consciousness, the cells in our body. It's not just your mind here. Your whole body has a consciousness, and we can speak to it. We have some great teachers that have shown us this. Yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an interesting kind of question to ponder. It's like, what would life be like when we evolve, as a humanity, when we get to that level of knowing and really resting in that oneness. If there's no reason for us to fight, if we're able to manifest what we need, what's next?
I guess we brought heaven to earth, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it won't be the end of the journey, like, because there's so much that we don't know, right?
Right. Yeah.
Who knows what the next thing will be,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we have the ability to instantly heal our bodies because we are,
right.
I just can't even imagine what that would be like. I know I can't remember where I read it or heard it. I don't know if it was like Greg Braden or Bruce Lipton or something, but the human body is supposed to have the ability to live for hundreds of years, but because of the density on Earth, our bodies have succumbed to aging and all, sickness and all of that.
Yeah.
To think that at a certain point, we could go back to living for hundreds of years. Can you imagine what it would be like to live in a world like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just an interesting, I don't know, question that came to me that I thought I would throw out there just to get your perspective.
Right.
But this has been awesome. It's been so great having you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Uni? You got anything?
No, I'm just so grateful to have had you, Albert, and we look forward to hearing more from you. I'd love to hear or watch you on a podcast or hear you, sharing more of your gifts. And yeah, I'd absolutely love to hear more from you.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
definitely gonna have to have you come for do
yeah,
a sound bath or something for.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, sound bath. I could even do so part of like the sound healing, or when you get, I use tuning forks for vibrational therapy. But see, I'll have to introduce you to Alex. So Alex is my um, surrogate. So when I'm doing a session, because all of my sessions are remote, right? I don't have to come to your home or you come to my home or whatever. They're all remote because I firmly believe we are all energy beings, and we know this. And our energy is more than the field, than me just sitting here. My energy is actually expounded beyond even this house, But Alex is my surrogate. So I'll introduce you to Alex and we'll do a session as well. Like, so Alex
Okay.
will be a surrogate for, let's say, Umi or Uni, for either of you. And I'll do a session. And then we'll see how that goes.
I look forward to it. Sounds really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been amazing having you and hearing about your journey to your awakening. And we really do appreciate you taking some time out to do this with us. I encourage all of our classmates to check Albert out, check out his website. It's in the description below. I might also pin it in the comments so that, it's right there if you want to check him out. Yeah, Albert, we really appreciate having you. And I think that's all we've got for today.
yeah.
Okay. And thank you for having me as well. It's been a real pleasure to talk about my journey and so forth. And you two are doing an excellent and amazing job with this podcast.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, it's one of my favorite. I've got two favorites, but this is definitely one of them. Um, so yeah, keep up the great work, because
Thank you.
people need to hear this and need to know that there are other people that are thinking, that are questioning, what we've been traditionally taught, and get a chance to come together and learn. So I'm grateful for that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. I think that's all we have for today. So we will say goodbye for now to our classmates. And yeah, that's it.
Thank
We'll see
you.
you guys next week. We're talking about, what are we talking about? We're starting a new month, right?
Yeah, we're starting a new month. We're talking about materials, security, and spirituality. So, a lot of what we were just sharing about,
Yeah.
getting us to that freedom that we are all trying to reach, get these shackles off of us so we can be free to live life. So, yeah, we'll start that next week. And we want to thank our special guest, Albert, again. We want to thank all of our classmates for joining us live. And for those of you who will watch the replay, this has been Earth School Journey, where life is the curriculum and experience is the teacher. Peace. We'll see you all next time.
Peace.